Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Stephanie Speaks. My guest today is going to be a great friend of mine. She's been an inspiration to me in so many ways, and not just to me, but others all over the world. I've got an international person with this, y'all. She's an author, a motivational speaker, a life coach, a lover of life. And I want you to please welcome Eliana Reyes. Say hi, Eliana.
Hey. Hi, everyone.
It's night over here, but I know it's morning time over there where you are, Eliana, and you can let people know where you are. But I just want to say thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh, it
I
is my
know.
pleasure.
Yes, I know you're so busy, but like I said, you've been such an amazing person in my life, and I know we've met at just different stages in our life. We can go into detail about that later, but just so everybody knows, I met Eliana about 7 to 8 years ago. That's when we was at church, so
Mm-hmm.
we met at a different part of our life, and it definitely wasn't a stage that I regret. I've learned so much at that point in my life. Um, but at that time, or a little shortly after we met, I helped her launch her first book. So she had
Mm-hmm.
a book launch. So, like I said, she is an author. But I'm not going to talk too much. I want Eliana to explain a little bit more about, what she used to do, where you at now, how you are, where you are, why you love life so much, how you fucked up in life, and how you learned to forgive, and what your new book's about. Where can people buy it? Just a little bit about everything, Eliana. So, um, and then to just summarize it all, do we really have it all together?
Mm.
When do we have it all together? Would you like to just start, Eliana, speaking?
I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of questions. Give me one at a time. Where would you like me to start? So I'm currently here in Vietnam. So it is morning time here. I will be here for the next 3 or 4 months. I've relocated to Thailand about a year. I think, yeah, like a yearish, year and a half ago. I have no
Mhm.
concept of time.
Clearly, you're a
um,
gypsy.
yeah. And I just love Thailand when I discovered it, when I experienced it two and a half years ago when I was just backpacking and decided to move there. So I've been living there for a year, but now I've relocated to Vietnam for the next 3 or 4 months, do a quarter here, and continue expanding and growing. Wow, how did I end up there?
Yeah.
So, 2 years ago, I had a really great business year in 2016. I was on the road speaking. I was mainly doing more speaking and speaking tours and traveling and speaking to teens and doing leadership trainings. And I had
Mhm.
such a really, really fantastic year, and it was busy, and at the same time life was a lot was happening in my life
Yeah.
that was new to me. I was in a relationship. I had a lot of new time experiences in that relationship, and then towards the end of the year that ended in a breakup, which I
Ouch.
initiated. So I broke my own heart to honor my own heart, if that
Yes.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because I knew the world was calling me, and there was something that I had to go out and see. And so I set foot to backpack through Southeast Asia.
Why Southeast
It,
Asia?
well, before that, I've always been a traveler. So, I've done Africa, and I've done Europe, and I've done bits of South America. And I'm like, I've never been to Asia. That's a really big continent with a lot of options. Let me just go
Hmm.
there. And what I thought would be a 2 month trip turned into almost a 5 month trip. And it was really the best thing I could do for myself. It
Yeah.
was it was a gift for myself. It was a way of reconnecting back to myself after the breakup and after so much that had happened in 2016, including my dad passing and just a bunch of other losses. Um, And it was perfect. So in that 5-month journey, wow, I I rebirthed myself. I rebirthed myself in so many ways. I turned on to life in a different way that I've never experienced. I really became more awake and shed some old skins that weren't serving me anymore, shed some old identities that weren't serving me anymore. And so I got back to the States, and full of stories, full of love, full of a newfound wisdom and excitement, full of new people in my circle, my community. And when I got back, I realized, wait a minute, I don't belong here. What am I doing in the East Coast? I don't belong here anymore. This is not where I need to be. So I finished honoring my commitments, and then I moved to Thailand. So that's a little bit about that. So the last 2 years have really been full of transitions and fully coming into my power and into the woman of my dreams, the woman that I know has always been there. Yeah.
Have you ever been? I mean, have you always been so like have you always had this type of personality, so like spontaneous and like wanting to just explore and find out who you were? Because I know, like I said, when I met you, we met in church, and nothing's wrong with loving the Lord or anything like that, but we know how a space like that can sometimes restrict us into being more free thinkers, or thinking outside of the box, so to speak. So how did you learn or figure out how to kind of live outside of that box?
Yeah, so I've always been highly curious, highly spontaneous, and pretty much an explorer. And with time, a few years ago, I learned that that's just my play nature. That's just my play style.
Right.
When I say play style or play personality, I'm talking about.
You want to talk about sex, Eliana?
No, we ain't gonna get there. Okay, we ain't gonna get there yet. I know that's your main topic, but no. No, I mean, there's different ways of playing, and it's just there's different ways of playing. But when I say play personality, I mean, so there's a psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Stuart Brown, and I talk a lot about this in my book. And he has studied playing for his whole life. Like, play has been like his topic of study. And so he says that all of us have a different play style, a different play personality, and that the opposite of depression is lack of play, and that somehow when we grow as adults, we stop playing, and so we get into this depressive mode because we're not playing sufficiently. So the key is to find what your play personality is and incorporate it in your day-to-day life. So and you can, people can look that up later, but one of the play personalities is explorer. And that's definitely one of mine. So these are the people that love to travel or love to talk to strangers. They love to explore. They love to explore concepts, ideas, people, music. They usually come across as flirts, which they are, but not always in a romantic way. It's just that they love flirting with life and they're curious. So anyways, that's always been me. I was just not in the awareness that was my play style. So I would say that in the past, especially when I was maybe part of the church or just in a different mindset in my own spiritual journey, I was that, and I did that in different ways. I did it in different ways just by meeting people.
Right.
But at the level that I'm doing it now, I wasn't. One, because I was in a complete different state of being.
Right.
And two, because I wasn't really giving myself permission to express my authenticity in the way that I knew how. I needed to unlearn a few things before I can get to where I'm at now in this level of acceptance of who I am, full knowledge of who I am, or at least who I'm evolving continuously to be, and full love, and saying, this is me, and this is what brings me joy and happiness, and this is what I'm going to bring out to the world, regardless of. So I would say yes, that's always been me, but it took some time for me to actually step into that and grow in the awareness that that's me, and to give myself permission, because that's a big part of it as well.
Do you feel like I'm taking so many notes right now. Everybody who's listening, we're in different time zones, so I'm just writing everything down. So
We
Eliana
just
can't.
getting started.
Yeah. I'm like, oh wow, that's really good. I hope you guys are writing this down when you're listening. But what I wanted to say was, do you feel like now you're in your 30s, was it necessary to go through the stuff that you did before in order to be where you are now? Like, I know some people feel like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have gone through that, or why did it take me so long to finally love myself, and or finally feel free to be who I am. Because I know, like, for me, and I've talked about it on my podcast, like, now I'm 31. I think I'm 31. I forget all the time how old I am now. 31, and I feel more free in my life now than I did years ago. Like, there's just so many things that I explore now, and so many, like you said, concepts and ideas and lifestyles that I'm more open to now, because I went through shit before, and it's like it's almost like that trauma or those depressive states made me realize and learn, like, I don't want to feel that, or this is how that makes me feel, and I'm going to do something else so I don't ever feel that way again. I feel like it's almost like a defense mechanism, but not at the same time, because even in having conversation with people, they're like, you've always been awesome, or you always had this great personality, but it's just so much freedom now, and so do you feel like like I mentioned before, like, are those past experiences that you went through before, whether it been family, whether it been religion, whether it be relationships, like, do you feel like that's played a major role, or like, was there a certain point, or was there a certain an event or trauma or whatever, what have you, that affected you or made you feel so much freedom now?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I'm thankful for everything that happened in my life and that I helped co-create, because I was there. I said yes to situations. I attended things. I did things, we say yes to things, and I would not take any of it back. Even the things that I suffered, even the things that broke my heart at the times, even the things that took a while for me to really release and heal from, all of it served me. All of it served me. All of it served me. And that's my belief. I believe that everything that happens in our life is happening for us. I don't subscribe to the mindset, this is happening to me. That's already assuming a victim mindset. I was part of these things, but if I say, wow, how did this happen for me? How did this experience that hurt me while I was part of the church happen for me? How did that serve me? Wow, it showed me how passionate I am for self-leadership. It showed me how caring and loving I am for people. It showed me how great of a leader I am. It showed me XYZ, and you go and you start going through all of those things. And when you start feeling the past pain with gratitude and perspective,
Right.
it's like an added armor that you get for who you are right now. So I honor every woman that I've had to be in order for me to be the woman that I am now. I had to be those women to get the understanding and the wisdom that I now have. I had to first not have it. I had to do stupid shit. I had to, cry and suffer. This is all part of the awakening journey. And my belief is that that's what we're here to do. We're in a constant state of awakening. Awakening to what? Awakening to who we truly are. Awakening to our true essence, which is love. Awakening to our potential. Awakening to our power. Awakening constantly. And so sometimes that happens in the most gentle of ways, and other times it takes other types of life experiences to really shake us up and say, hey, there's more in you. Bring out the gold,
Right.
So.
What do you say? Because I know, and I don't mean to still bring it back to the church, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know girl, the DMs that I get is real out of control from the church
Oh,
folk.
we could bring it to the church.
I just feel like I don't want to keep bringing it there, but I feel like, that's such a big part of who I am, or who I was, or who, how I look at life, because I always feel like that's something that I kind of compare everything to, like, oh, my life like this, oh, and then then you get those Facebook moments or Facebook memories or your Instagram, like, hey, this happened 5 years ago, and you're like, oh shit, like, so I know a lot of things for me, like life now, I kind of compare it to life before. And I just say that to say, I've had people say, for example, oh, like, everything in life now, or the society we live in now, is just about happiness, and people want to just feel it, if it feels happy, and that's self-absorption, and that's, we have to die to ourselves, and how all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, do you feel like that's what it is that how you live life, like, is it, so to speak, self-absorbed, or is that to say, we can't have happiness? Is that something that you find conflicting when it comes to religion, so to speak, like, oh, it's not about happiness, it's about submitting to the Lord? Like, what do you say with something like that? I feel
Right.
like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like just internal conflict sometimes, like, I don't want to be absorbed with myself. I wasn't really happy, all these years growing up. I thought I was, but I wasn't. I was depressed. I was on medication, but I'm still raising my hands up in church on Sunday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and we could definitely bring it to church because I think that maybe a lot of your listeners will really benefit from this. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you have a past with the maybe they're more familiar with your story. I have no shame in talking about mine. I mean, I used to be an ex-minister. I can sit with anyone who wants to talk Bible with me and I can break it down because I studied it. I broke it down beyond Sunday sermons, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I, I preached and teached, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm fully confident in my relationship with God and with the Christ consciousness, even now. And for some people that
Yeah.
might sound crazy, it's like I still have that relationship with spirit, whether I call God, Goddess, universe, Jesus. It's that energy. I would say that it's a bit of both. Like for some people that are in their church and saying, "Oh, look at you living all free and it's not all about happiness and you need
Yeah.
to suffer quite a bit," and I don't
Yeah.
subscribe to that thinking. Yes, there is truth. There is truth to the statement that in the world that we live in now, there are people out there that are kind of subscribed, even in the spiritual community that are not part of quote unquote church. There are still people that are operating from this mindset of only focus on the positive and you don't do the work and blah blah blah, in the
Right.
same way that some people in the church are operating. That it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
whether you take it to the business world, to the church world, to the new age
Yeah.
spiritual community world, to the are we here to live our best life? Yes. Are we here
Yes.
to be an example of love? Yes. Are we
Mm-hmm.
here to enjoy the abundance of the world, the abundance that God, universe, the goddess, the divine infinite intelligence that runs
Yeah.
everything? Are we here to enjoy that? Absolutely. And everything comes with a balance. There is a duality to things, just like the
Yes.
sun has a moon, right?
Absolutely.
There is a
Yeah. Yeah.
duality to that. There is trauma that comes up. There is a shadow side of that is there, not for us to condemn it, not for us
Right.
to enslave it. In fact, not for us to even cast it out like if it was a
Mm.
demon.
Yeah,
It's
girl.
there for us to is there. Our shadow side is there for us to love it, for us to
Right.
learn to integrate it, for us to learn to say, hey, wow, this is the duality part of me. How can I use this of best service? Why do I have this tendency that I'm labeling as dark, but how in fact can this begin to serve me? So
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense,
No,
but
no, it
yeah.
absolutely does, because I know, like, like I said, growing up in church is always like, I'm suffering, and it's like, Jesus suffered too when he died on the cross, and I'm like, okay, so my suffering is nothing. I can get through this, but it's always like like you said, um, it's the way, the perspective of things. So now I feel like my suffering isn't in vain, is not in vain, or just looking at things differently. And I feel like I don't even need to, or other people, like, it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to drown my sorrow and suffering in my depression medication. It's like, no, it's about perspective, you know what I mean? So you definitely, like you said, there's a duality in whatever quote unquote world we live in, whether it be the church, the universe, the wherever. Like, duality, like, that's a big one. I'm gonna like put that in like big bold quotation.
Yeah, but I love what you just said, because I want listeners to really consider this and think about this, whether they're a consistent churchgoer or whether they've left the church and they're now exploring other types of spiritual practices, or they've connected with other types of truths that are resonating with them. This one point of being addicted to a suffering story, how is that really serving the
Yeah.
evolution of your spirit? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you're in church. When I was in church, they need a deliverance service every week, and it's like, at what
Like, still.
point, at
Still.
what, like as an example, at what point do you stop, with this suffering story, and start to actually enjoy the abundance that the Lord has brought to you? And it's the same as the people that are now part of the spiritual and healing community in on this side of the world, for example.
Yeah.
It's like, how much healing and releasing and clearing are you gonna do before you can actually like enjoy this life? Because we
Yeah.
heal and we deal and we clear and we release. Why? So that then we can make space and enjoy the beauty and the abundance that this life has. So it doesn't matter which school of thought you subscribe to, whether you're part of church or not. The real question is here, are you are you addicted to these suffering stories? And is that your bullshit way and your way of hiding from all
Want to come back for, like, get your shit together, you almost want to say, right? Not to say that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But moving forward, from that, I know you used to be a speaker who traveled all over America and spoke to high school students and whatnot. And I wanted to touch base on, before we touch base on your book, I wanted to know, or see if you can briefly tell people, like, why stop that and move on to, and if I'm not explaining your career description, or however you want to call it, properly, please let me know, because I know you now, like, as this life coach. Is that what you would title yourself? I know you've never been big on titles, but I just want
Yeah.
everybody to kind of get the right idea of what is it that you do.
I do many things. I love and I serve. Love and service is my medicine. I really don't get stuck to titles, because for me, titles and career description, I mean, I say one thing for the sake of the understanding of others, right? But for me, things like, yes, I'm a life coach. Yes, I'm a motivational speaker. Yes, I'm a facilitator. Yes, I do X, Y, and Z. I still do all those things actively. For me, those are just, like I wrote in my first book, vehicles for me to drive and express my purpose. My career started as a motivational speaker. That's when I was back in college, and I wrote more of this. I wrote my full story on my book, so people can actually go and read the whole thing there. But for me, everything started with a vision of me speaking, and that's how it started back when I was like 18 or 19. And I was in college, and I was getting these dreams and visions of me speaking and being all over the world. And I didn't know exactly what they meant, but they just kept kind of knocking. And I'm like, what is this? And so then I thought, maybe I'm supposed to be a communicator. Maybe I'm supposed to be a speaker of sorts. And so I got all the signs, because I've always been into signs and tuning in and, asking for signs and all that. And so I got that. And so my career started as a speaker, and I focused on the teen market. I was really passionate about working with teens and helping them develop a better mindset, so that they're better humans, so that they're out there living with purpose and living their life. And so I did that. I started my business, Made to Live, about 9 years ago, and it was with the intentions of using it as a platform to build my speaking business. But I knew in the back of my mind that there was more parts to that vision that included traveling, that included writing, that included, organizing international trips, and that included coaching. I've always been a coach. I've always found myself coaching people, but I never decided to give it its own individualized attention.
Right.
Until now, because now that I've toured the world and the nation, and now this is the leg in my business.
Now you lived a little bit more.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I'm not, that I'm not a speaker. I'm a speaker. So, if anybody wants to hire me as a speaker, you can come.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
email me, send me
in the
an email.
In the description, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'll add your email or your website or your somewhere so people could learn something, because I mean, I like to share the goods with folks. You know me, I'm like, I find something good, someone good, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm telling everybody about it. I so, definitely.
No. Yeah, I love speaking. I love speaking to the youth. And after my trip to Asia 2.5 years ago, so much changed because I changed, because I grew, and I got different levels of understanding within myself. And so I started to wean off slowly serving the teen industry and really connect and tune in to what has always been my passion, which has been women and uplifting women and building women, and saying, what if I just laser focus on that and put all my attention in that, and really serve women that are visionaries, that are dreamers, that are lovers, that are builders, that want to express their life vision, want to express their life mission, just like I've been doing it for the last 8 years, but they don't know where to start, or they don't know how to go about and building it. So I created a program, and that's the basis of my book, of why I wrote my book. It was really for that woman, the woman that is smart, the woman that is spiritual, soulful, sassy, multi-passionate, who's loving and caring, who loves life and people, who has a childlike faith and believes big, who takes action, who doesn't really give a fuck about what people think about her, who has some savings, understands the importance of investing in herself, who's not afraid to use her credit cards when it comes to like investing in herself and her future, because she knows that everything circulates, who makes things work, who's a badass, and who needs support, and who supports other women. And so I said, I want to meet that woman, and I want to be her mentor, and I want to be her coach, and I want to help her up level and really inspire and up level, because now's the time. And so that's why I'm focused more on coaching women now, and building us up.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, before, because we talk a lot, before we forget, what's the name of your book? Where can people buy it? How much is it? Anything like that? Because I'm gonna write it down, because I already have it, but I want the folks to know.
Yes. So my book that I just released, my second book, I released it about 2 months ago, and it was bestseller when I released it. It got bestseller before I even released it, when it was on pre-order, and it's called Mind Your Business. It's called Mind Your Business. It's a play on words. It's Mind Your Business, how to start your dream business and build life on your terms.
Yes.
And you can get it on Amazon right now. It's available on Kindle, but even if you don't have a Kindle, you can get it electronically if you buy it. It's about $8. So it's not bad at all, but it's so good. And I'm just, obviously it's not just because it's I gotta tell you, if you guys go on Amazon and just read the reviews that are there, those reviews in itself will speak for themselves. But let me tell you why I'm really, really excited about this. It's because I wrote this with so much love. Let me tell you, I compiled all of the lessons, all of the things that I've learned from my mentors and coaches that I've invested in. And I've invested more than $80,000 on myself. Even I'm not even going to give you the exact number.
Self-love.
Listen, I'm about this life, so I know the value of that. But I've I wrote this book as a love letter,
Yeah.
as a love letter to the woman who I just described, that has something inside of her that wants to come out into this world, that wants to manifest this dream, this vision, this idea of how to serve and love the world in bigger ways. I wrote it as a love letter that I wish I would have had
Yes.
eight years ago when I started my business with no idea how the hell to run a business, with no real guidance or mentorship on how to run my business. Nobody in my family really owns a business, so it's not like I'm like, how do I exactly run a business? So I wrote this as a letter, and it's everything I wish I would have known when I started, like to the
Yes.
T, to the T, to the T. I go deep. I go deep into my story. I get real raw about some details. Yeah, I'm very excited. So,
That's exciting. I mean, do men read it too?
oh my gosh, my first my first, if the 3 reviews I have online is men.
There you go. There you go. For the folks that want to know, yeah, men can read it
Of
too.
course, no, I wrote it with women in mind, but come on, it's really wise and insights that are applicable to everyone. I mean, I just had somebody text me. I haven't posted this online, and they haven't even wrote a review yet. But I just had someone message me, I think like 3 or 4 days ago, saying that they finally finished my book and that it took them a while because it literally felt like it was therapy for them and for their soul. So
Yeah. Just talking to you is therapy, though. Sometimes I'm just like, you're like, hey, how are you? I'm just like, I don't know. All of a sudden, I just love life, and life's pretty shitty, but I'm still like just loving it. It's that energy you bring, you know. It's just
mm,
it's that energy. I can feel it all the way from the other side of the world.
yay.
Yes, yes. Um, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm just exposing my whole like just private conversation with all of like the world on my podcast, but it's okay. I like to be as transparent as possible. Because people appreciate that. I think that so many of us, we just talk so much about, like, I'm gonna be real. I'm just real. I'm so real. I'm so authentic. I'm so this. Like, don't tell me, just show me. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's something that you just do. You just bring it without saying you're bringing it. You just, like, it's brought in, it's here.
It's one of the things I value. Authenticity is one of my high values. I have a lot. I have 8 solid values that I'm very connected to, and authenticity and radical honesty are top of the list,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're top of the list. One, because obviously I see the benefit of them, but for those of you listening, someone doesn't just wake up sometimes and do that. For me, the reason is I grew up not being or living in the expression of my authentic self. I grew up
Yes.
suppressing that part of me because I was still wearing this perfectionism mask, and I was still a
Yeah.
people pleaser, and I was
Yeah.
still wanting to be everything for everyone except what I needed to be for my own self and
Yeah.
for
I can
the
so relate to
sanity of
that.
my own.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it took, back to the question you asked me in the beginning, I had to suffer what I suffered for me to get to a point where I said, enough is enough. I'm done hiding. I'm done wearing this mask. I am
Mhm.
suffocating out here. I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm going to take this off and start showing myself and start learning to appreciate myself again. And so I'm a truth teller, and because I come from a background of lying, and not lying, oh, I'm a liar to people, lying to myself. And I don't
Yeah.
want to be in that space anymore. I don't want to be in that
Yeah.
energy.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
Like,
I
oh, I'm
do
having
my
issues.
best.
Don't. Yeah. Oh no.
No.
Things are great. Things are great. No.
Yeah,
No.
no. I do my best to lead with authenticity. And you if those that are part of my close circle, they'll know, like I don't hide things. If I'm happy, you'll know it. If I'm going through something, I reach out and I say it. And I think it's important. I think other people connect with humanity, and the more of us can show our humanity, which we
Mhm.
all have, the more permission it gives others to kind of start taking off their mask and showing their
Yes,
humanity.
absolutely. Your circle must be for real, because like for you to have all of this, like, not only are you're a server, you're a giver, but and I know from just speaking to people, sometimes we give so much, but we also get that energy from other people, like whether it be negative, whether it be positive, we're just soaking it in like a sponge. So, I can imagine how your quote unquote inner circle is. You're an amazing woman, so your support system, your circle must be like top notch. and I tell people all the time, like, no matter how strong you are, no matter how great things are, no matter how real you are, like, it's so important to have a support system that's gonna tell you, like, yo, get your shit together, or hey, I know you're down and out, but call me. Even the most positive people, the happiest people, they need that. And you're one of those people for me, because I'm just like, what, I could just tell Leon what it is, and she gonna either just she gonna give it to me straight, or she'll circle back to it later. But I definitely think, like, it's important that like you said, radical honesty and what was the other thing you said? Authenticity. So important. So as real and honest as we are, we need that circle, to come along with us.
For sure.
Yeah. And
we're not meant to do life alone at all. We're not meant to build business alone. We're not meant to grow alone. We're not meant to do life alone. And that's something that I've always known because of how I grew up in my family, but that's something that's been even anchored in further as I live in Asia, on this side of the world, and seeing how people are together, how families are together. Like right now, I'm staying at a homestay, which is very popular here. It's pretty much, I'm pretty much living with, so it's pretty much like a 4-story house with rooms, but the family, this is a business, and the family lives downstairs. So I have my own privacy, my own balcony, my own room. But the family that owns this, they live downstairs and they eat together and they do things together. They run this business together, and it's very united here. And I think it's a very American thing to develop this like independent individuality personality, and that's important sometimes. But we're really here to co-create, to depend on each other.
No,
it is healthy.
We crave companionship.
Yeah, it's healthy. It's healthy. This whole I'm an independent woman. No, I'm my own woman. I'm my own whole woman, and I like my privacy. But I depend on others. I depend on others for things. I depend on the strength of others for things. It's important to need each other and want each other and to lean on each other.
And it's okay to admit that.
Yes. And I think that's a side. That's a vulnerability that collectively, like even in the States, the people are learning and tapping into now more and more, because that's needed. That's needed.
That for real. You know how many edits I got to do to this thing? This is, so everybody, sorry if we jump around, but I have to edit this, and I'm still learning how to do this podcast thing. So I'm letting people know I'm being real. Like, if it gets choppy, excuse me.
But you know what? You're doing it. You're doing it, and that's
you know what? Yeah, I felt like one of those things. I was just kind of, I'm gonna just throw myself out there. I have no tools or like nobody had to teach me this. I just kind of have to figure it out, and it's going pretty well. I've gotten like over 500 listeners. I'm like, wow, look at that. People want to listen.
The point is to do it.
Others want to listen to.
You're giving yourself permission to be imperfect and to fuck it up and do it anyway. And that's what we need more of. Like, how many people are listening right now that are sitting on a dream, or sitting on an idea, or sitting on that thing that you've been writing and have a bunch of little papers written about it in your notebooks and your folders and your wallet, and you're still not jumping because everything has to be right. The key to success is to start before you're ready. And
and nothing going to be aligned ever. Just go for it.
And give yourself permission to play. Fuck it up and be imperfect. It doesn't matter.
For sure. So it's funny, something that I posted on Instagram. It was like 9:30. I had a late dinner. I was writing things down. I have like 3 notebooks, my planner. Why do I have 3 notebooks? I don't know. But this is my podcast one. This is my blog. This is my I'm starting to write articles like on different things, almost similar to this podcast. They're just a little bit different. I know some people like to read, so I'm gonna kind of write also, and through a like a website, and kind of write articles on there. So I have a bunch of notebooks, but I'm writing, and then I'm on Instagram, and literally the thing that came to me was something that you told me years ago. I know it's kind of popular quote now, but
Mm-hmm.
broken crayons still color. So
Mm.
every time I see that quote, every time I see it around, I swear, every time I look at crayons, Ileana, box it up, the big box, them 64 box of crayons, I'd be like, oh my gosh, Ileana. Because I remember years ago when you said broken crayons still color. And I was
Mm.
just like, you know what? That's so true. Because and it makes me feel like, even when we're broken, even when we feel like we don't have our shit together, we have still so much to give to others. And I feel like sometimes when we're broken, us admitting to our brokenness and us sharing despite, we kind of fix ourselves at the same time. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I with the crayons, and if you want to say something before you say something, um I wanted to know, it's such a cheesy question, but I know you're gonna get real deep with it because this is just who you are as a
Mm.
person. If you were a crayon, Eliana, what color would you be? I know you thought about this. You're gonna say something real like eloquent. Watch, go for
I
it.
definitely have not thought about. I mean,
Oh
that
my
changed
gosh.
it. If I was a crayon color, yeah. I don't. Lately, I've been. Maybe. Yeah. I'll be red. I'll be red. I'll just be red. Right
Why
now,
red?
where I'm at in my life, it's red. It's passion. It's action. It's love. It's vibrant. It's sensuality. It's feminine. It's red. Right now, that's the color that I've been feeling. That's the color that, yeah,
I
I'll be
like
red.
I love
It's
it. I
simple.
love it. I could see you red. You used to be like a purple to me, but I could see red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Red is fiery. Red is sexy. I love
Yeah.
it.
Some days
Totally
I feel
love it.
purple. I totally feel purple some days, but yeah, red.
Yeah.
Red is at my core, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's not the deep
That's a good
answer.
question, right? Are you gonna write a whole book about what color are you? I bet. I'm inspiring you
No.
right now. um,
No, yeah,
is
red.
there anything that you'd like to share with the listeners that are listening? This is going to be online forever. It ain't going nowhere. It's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Spotify, it's on Anchor. It's going to be everywhere. So make it something good. What would you like to say before we let you go? Come on,
So
what you
this is the final sermon on the
This
hill.
is like the final sermon. Like in closing.
In conclusion, okay. Listen, I don't. We're here on this life, doing life together, and life. I don't know what your definition of life is. For some people, life is a journey. For some people, life is a game. For some people, life is an experience. For some people, life is a gift, an opportunity. Start off with saying, what is life to me? But beyond that, realize that regardless of what you subscribe yourself to, regardless if you are Christian, atheist, you don't believe in anything, you had this life experience versus that life experience, you are here to tune in, align, and turn on your soul to the essence that is in you. And what is our essence? Love. God is
Yes.
love. Love is everything. Love is everywhere. We are love. We are love. We are love. And this life journey, the whole point of it is for us to find everything that stops us, has blocked us, and is in the way of
Mm-hmm.
us being and expressing that love. And
Mm-hmm.
how do we do that? We do that through life experiences. We do that through relationships. And
Yeah.
there's a quote, one of my favorite quotes, is from Ram Dass, and
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "We are all just bringing each other back home." And
Yes.
I love that quote so much because what is home? Home is inside of you. Home is that connection that you have with you and you. When you
Yes.
close your eyes to worship, when you close your eyes to pray, when you close your eyes in the club because you're feeling the beat, the pulsation of a rhythm, of the music, and at that moment you're feeling fully alive, you're feeling fully connected. When you close your eyes, just when you're sitting in the park and you're looking out at the water or the tree in front of you, and you're closing your eyes to connect, when you close your eyes in the shower and you're allowing the water to just touch your skin and you're just kind of lost in that present moment, it doesn't matter where and when you close your eyes, but home is in that space. Home is
Yes.
that space of harmony, that space of love, that space of alignment that is within you. And all we're doing in this life is bringing each other back there. We do
Right.
that with love, we do that with ease, we do that with compassion and kindness. there's
Yes.
no there's no need to spend energy in judging, in criticizing other people's life and lifestyles. You don't know if that's what they need to go through to get back home to
Yes.
themselves. You
Amen,
know,
sister. Yes.
they might need to go through that to get back home to themselves, because we're in a constant state of remembering who we are, of
Yes.
remembering and awakening to who we are, and that is love. We are
Yes.
love. We are here to love. And so that's what I would say. I would say for people to tune into themselves and get aligned with what truly brings them alive and on fire, and to love more. To love
Amen.
more.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Eliana, thank you so much. Thank you so much for waking up in Thailand. And it's
In
nighttime over
Vietnam.
here in Jersey, but I so appreciate it. I know we've been putting this on hold for so long and life happens,
Yes.
but I appreciate it. I can't wait to edit this and
Oh,
share it when I put it up, share it to your people. I'm gonna
thank
put it
you.
up. I'll let you know. But thank you so much, Ileana.
My
Everybody,
pleasure.
yes, everybody. I'm gonna tag her, follow her page, follow her website, schedule a tea time or coffee time, whatever she calls it. Connect with her and just live your life. And like Ileana said, just continue to love, love, love. And we're
Mm.
tuning out. Bye, guys.
Bye.